I'm Linnell, and he's my brother from another mother.
I'm Rob, and she's my sister from the same mister.
This meeting is being recorded.
There we go.
I'll know to look for that now. I really wasn't trained yet, so now I know. If she don't say that, we ain't recording. Ay, ay, ay.
And welcome to episode 4. Hello, Linnell. Good evening.
Good evening, Rob.
Man,
Great.
it seems like just a couple of days ago we were recording an episode.
Yeah. About that.
Well,
when I got
think
that text from you, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And I knew you were just as up on that as I was. And at first I was like, oh, he's just kidding.
I thought you were going to come back with like a ha-ha. Or the text equivalent of throwing something directly at my head.
Yeah.
Because that was our best episode. I really think that was the best episode we've done yet.
It was. And when you sent that, I was like, holy shit. You mean you did not hit record, Rob?
Well, anyway, that's all in the past. You know, we may never
Oh,
know.
yes, I'll never bring that up again.
We may never know who made that mistake. So it's best just to move on.
Yes, we'll never know Rob made that mistake.
Hey. No,
I mean, I didn't mean to say Rob. I meant to say Rob. Wait till I tell everybody this weekend.
Oh my God. Anywho. So yes, my leg is much better today than it was yesterday. I had to go see a doctor yesterday because of my knee.
Yeah, I'm glad it's better. We still don't really know about the diagnosis though, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of weird.
X-ray?
No, they didn't x-ray, but he gave me some tips. It's kind of weird because he, of course, I went back in the room with the nurse, or I guess it was a nurse, and she did the blood pressure and temperature and, and all that stuff, and wrote down, asked me, what happened, and I told her, and she wrote it all down. So then she leaves, and I have to put the gown on because they wanted me to take my pants off so he could get to my knee. So he comes into the room reading my chart, and he says, well, Rob, you're going to have to stop masturbating. I'm like,
I mean, do you see the look on my face?
Well, you should have seen the look on my face. I'm like, what? That's kind of embarrassing. Why? And he said, because I'm trying to examine you.
Oh, God. It's like a dad joke or some bullshit. That was good though. You had me drawn in on it because I was like, why would he say such a damn
What does
thing?
that got to do with your knee? How the hell are you jerking off if you're hurting your knee?
And I was like, are you using your leg? And I was thinking of you like with both hands around your thigh. I don't know where I was going with that.
Let's not. Yeah. We don't want that image in anybody's
Well, I'm sorry.
head.
I am a visual person.
So,
I'm only seeing half your face. There you go.
Anyway, but really, he does have me taking enough Tylenol and ibuprofen that I rattle when I walk now. I've got to take 600 milligrams of ibuprofen every 6 hours. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, every 6 hours. And 1,000 milligrams of acetaminophen every 8 hours. So that's 3,000 milligrams of acetaminophen a day.
That is, well, this is because you're old.
Oh, yeah, that was the fun part, too. He was asking if I'd had any issues with my knee before. And I said, well, I mean, my knees have ached. I'm old and I'm fat. And he laughed and he said, you're not that old.
Did he? I think he really said that.
Yes.
Okay.
He let the fat thing go, but he did say you're not that old.
Well, you did just break the scales like a week ago, so.
I did not break the damn scale.
Okay.
Remember, as far as the audience is concerned, they haven't heard that story yet. That was from Christmas
True.
meeting.
We'll fill it in later.
Well, I'm done talking about the doctor. My knee is a lot better. I've been able to get around without having to use the cane, although I still take it with me just in case. When it gave out on me Tuesday night, that shit hurt. So I really don't want to experience that again if I can help
No, but God, it would be so fun to have to be in your presence when you're on a walker or something.
it. Yeah, I'll bet.
And
I
they
just
would,
everybody would be like, "Can I pull a seat out for you, sir?"
yeah. No, all joking aside, I hope everything's great.
Well, yeah, it should get better. I mean, the searing pain that was going down my leg Tuesday night and Wednesday morning is gone. So it must have been just, I don't know, like referred pain or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
I'm better. I can move around some. Steps are still a little tricky, but fortunately, I only have a few steps here in the house and
Yeah.
no steps that I have to navigate at work. So, yay me.
Yay. Well, we did have our Christmas gathering,
Yes, we did.
and
It
I
feels
think
like
it
we
was
talked
great.
about this already.
Uh-huh. Well, we did like 2 days ago, and then you didn't record it, so
Are we
we're
pointing
doing it
fingers
again.
again?
Yes, any chance I get to point out things that you've fucked up, yes. That is what I live for.
Fair enough. If I took that away from you, what else would you have?
Exactly. Just let me have that.
So yeah, we had the Christmas party, had a nice little gathering. What that was the railroad depot in Rocky Mount, right?
Yeah, it was a real nice place to do that at.
I think it was. I could see that being a yearly thing.
I think so. It was a good setup, and everybody pitched right in and helped set up and helped tear down, and we
Yeah.
we did our Dirty Santa selections. That was fun.
What did you wind up taking from there?
Exactly what I wanted to take.
So
The
what you
blanket
brought?
Robbie bought. Yes. When he come home with that blanket, I mean, he didn't even do his Christmas shopping till 2 days before Christmas, literally. And he goes and buys the best shit. And I'm like, "I'm not giving this blanket to anybody." He's like, "Yes, you've already stolen one blanket earlier this year that was a gift."
So what does that have
And
to do with
so
it?
exactly. And nobody stole it from me because I think they knew that it was my party and that would have been a horrible thing to do.
I think everybody was focused on the scratcher tickets.
Probably. Yeah.
And what was the
That
other,
that I think the wine thing,
the
the
wine?
wine set
Oh yeah, yeah, that traded hands a couple of times.
and the lottery tickets.
The lottery tickets. There was something else that got traded out a couple of times. I can't remember what it was. What I got, nobody tried to steal, which I
No.
guess is nice.
And what was that?
It was a scale. I don't
Uh-huh.
need a scale.
But
I don't.
yet you took one home.
Well, not for long. The damn thing broke as soon as I took it out of the box. Well, not as soon as I took it out of the box, while I was putting the batteries in.
He was like, "Oh, hell no. I see you. Mm-mm. You're not getting on me."
No, look, you don't want me. I sure don't want you.
One of us is leaving the situation.
I'm just going to sacrifice myself and break a leg.
Yeah. Put me in the dumpster.
Just put me in the dumpster. It was a talking scale too. No way in it's bad enough to
God.
stand on a scale and have to see the numbers. No way in hell I want a talking scale to announce to the neighborhood, you weigh.
Hear ye, hear ye. This fat fucker is on the scale. I'm just totally kidding when I say that. But I mean,
I
that goes along with scales. I don't want to say skinny fucker. No skinny fucker gets
that,
on a scale.
that's true. And it'd be a complete lie.
Right. I almost said right. I had to catch myself. As you see, I've got a drink in hand
You got a
for
drink
my
in
damp January.
hand. Your moist January.
Yeah. Well, I mean, January is not a good month for me to do dry January because it's my birthday month. Hello,
And then why is February not a good month for you to do dry?
Valentine,
Uh-huh. And why is March not a good month for you to do dry?
St. Patrick's Day,
And why is April not a good month for you to do dry?
Robbie's birthday.
There we go. I think we all know May. Let's see what would be happening in June that would not, well, June is just outright not going to happen because that's summer.
Hell no, that's summer.
So June, July, and August, just forget that.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
September, let's see,
And
September.
my
Oh,
anniversary.
yeah, your anniversary plus Labor Day, which you know
Plus,
you can't go Labor Day without at least having beer.
exactly.
And then
So
October.
maybe.
Now
I
some
could
people
say
do
Sarah's birthday.
Sarah's birthday.
I've got every month covered, basically.
Yeah, November and December, we all know what's going on.
So damp January. So I'm attempting, but I'm gonna slip up.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I told Enos that when we come out for your birthday celebration Saturday, if she wanted to take the day off and have drinks that she could, because she doesn't want to drive from that area back home when it's dark anyway. So I'm going to stay
Oh
sober.
yeah,
So I told her,
good.
if you want to take the day off, you can. And then I'll take Sunday off for playoff football. I almost said Playboy football.
Ooh,
That would be interesting. For playoff football, because my team is playing in the playoffs Sunday.
yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good little trade-off.
But
Yeah.
Enos, she's
Yeah.
she's little miss by the rules and by the book.
Too
And
competitive. Yeah.
well, it's not even competitive. She's just hyper vigilant. Everybody should be following the rules, unless it's
Well, there is
beneficial.
really, I mean, it's not really a rule. Does she understand that? It's not an
Yeah,
American rule to be dry in January.
yeah, that's and I mean, I was the one who
I don't
brought
even
it
know
up.
what fucker started it, first of all. Who
I
started that?
I don't know. I remember hearing about it 2 years ago, but we didn't do it then. And then when it came back around last year, she and I decided to do it. And you said you were going to do it, but you made it a moist January that year too.
Yeah, because we had that hockey game, and I couldn't go to a hockey game without a beer.
That's true. Man, we got more hockey coming up.
I know.
We got the Guns and Hoses event coming up in 20th of this month.
Yeah. Now, are both of those teams amateur hockey players, or are they on, or any of those guys on the Railway Dog
From
team?
what I from what I saw last year, no, no way in hell any of those guys, even the
Okay.
best player out there, I don't think is a regular player. He may
Okay.
have been at some point because he's got a little skill.
Right.
He's the only
Yeah.
one that I
I
saw
like
on
him.
either team that skated well and knew what he was doing with the puck. And it
Right.
was fun to watch him try to pass the puck to somebody else who would be like, jump away from it and then go skating by him. And so he might have been a player at one point. But somebody that I talked to after the game last year, I asked about that. I said, do those guys just like practice for 1 month and that's it? And he laughed and said, it's more like one day. They have like a day the week before the game that they practice. And
Really?
yeah, I mean, they're
Well,
basically
they're
just
pretty
looking
good
for
for
people.
that.
I mean, I couldn't get out there with a day of practice, and I don't know about now with my bad knees and big belly,
Yeah.
but I could have gotten out there and skated forward. I've never been
Right.
able to skate backwards, either on ice skates or on roller skates. I've never been able to
Uh-huh.
skate backwards. So that's
Same. I
that's a
can't either.
big part of hockey there is being able to skate in just about any direction and in
Yeah.
any way. So yeah, I don't know that I could do much better. I do remember there was one guy on one of the teams that every time he got out there, he just stayed way the hell away from all the action. He would just kind of slowly move in the direction that if the puck was down at one end, he kind of slowly over by the sidewall, slowly move in that
Like,
direction. And
I
if the
am not
puck's
getting injured for this shit.
no, no. because all they're looking for is people who can strap on skates and not fall on their face on the ice. And
Yeah.
this guy looked like he felt if he went any faster than half a mile an hour, he was going to fall on his face. So he very gently moved. If the puck was going in the other direction, he'd do one of those little doot 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 to turn around, the waddle
Right.
step to turn around and slowly start skating in that direction. But he stayed mostly by center ice the whole time. But it was fun to watch. But for whatever reason, last year, Enos and I started getting into like the professional hockey games that would come on TV. So
Uh-huh.
we've been watching professional hockey. Just it didn't matter what team. We didn't really have a favorite
Yeah.
team. We'd just pick a team in any particular game and say, that's who I want to win. That's who we're rooting for. And usually it'd be the team that would be considered the underdog.
Right.
So we were watching all kinds of games, and then to go there and see that, it was like, oh boy, this is like a bunch of 7-year-olds playing soccer.
Yeah. It was a little different. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. And then, of course, after that, in February, we're going to a
Rail dog.
railway
Rail
dog,
dogs.
rail dog.
Roanoke
dogs.
Rail Dogs.
Yeah. I haven't been to one of those games since they were Roanoke Express.
Yeah, that's been a few years. I think Enos and I went to a game 4 or 5 years ago. We went to it was the Rail Dogs then. We went to the game. Yep, the Rail Dogs they're not top of the standings, but they're right in there, in the mix for the playoffs. They won it all last year, and they've been doing pretty well this year. Not as well as last year, but they've been doing pretty well. So they are in position where they could repeat. But there's all the other teams are wanting.
What is the division they're in? What is the division?
Hockey, I think.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
is it like farm league, double A, single A, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
what
I
is
know.
that?
I know what you're
Hockey?
asking. Let me look it up, and I'll ask my buddy Google.
Yeah. Ask Google.
Roanoke Rail Dogs. Oh no, Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs. You were right.
I figured I was, but I'm not here to argue. Or am I?
That's all you
truth
fucking
reveals
do.
itself.
That's all you fucking do is argue.
With you, yes.
League, the Southern Professional Hockey League. That's what they are. The Southern Professional Hockey League. So they're basically
That sounds legit.
They are not in any way affiliated with the NHL, which is the big one, National Hockey League, the AHL, which is the American Hockey League, the ECHL, which I have no idea what that is. So the SPHL has no affiliation with any of the major professional hockey teams. But it says here that the players from the SPHL may be temporarily loaned to teams in the aforementioned league, most commonly the ECHL. I would say the ECHL is like the minor league to the NHL. That would be my guess. And then the Southern Professional Hockey League, like probably a bunch of other leagues around the country, are just not even farm leagues, really, just independent leagues that they go play some hockey and then they have a beer later. Fun, but they're a lot more fun to watch talent-wise, as far as having the talent to play. They're a lot more fun to me to watch them than the Guns and Hoses match, although that's fun for a completely different reason.
Yeah, that's right.
So have you got your list of topics to keep us on track?
Yes, I got my handy dandy pen book here.
And we're still recording.
All right, that's good to know. Good to know. Because if I had to do this over again, I'd be like, dude, I'm out.
This a third time, it might be like, well, maybe this episode just don't get done. Let's move on to the
next. We'll just move on.
Well, one of the big things about this last episode, we reviewed Cher's Christmas album. The album titled Christmas. And the long and short of it is we both liked it. You probably more than I, because you're actually a Cher fan. I don't hate Cher, and I kind of like Cher, but I'm not I'm not team Cher or anything, but it was a decent album. So from that, we decided we were going to review another one.
The reveal is
Did
Dolly
drum roll? Dolly
and
Parton
Rockstar.
and her album Rockstar. I didn't realize until I started listening to it. I didn't realize this actually came out earlier in 2022. And there's been 6 singles released from it that have charted well. And the
Hmm.
only thing I can say to that is, what the hell, people? Because
Yeah. Because
I
when
am
we
not
talked, when we just when we decided to do this, I was like, this is great. We should do both of them because, they're up in age, but
icons of,
they've both been
yeah, icons of music. I mean,
icons. Yeah,
both of them are goddamn national treasures.
right.
And and
And the first, and I said, "Hey Alexa, play songs from Dolly Parton's Rockstar." And the first thing she played was Night Moves. And I almost could not get through the first sentence.
I mean, Night Moves, Bob Seger
I was like, "Oh boy."
saying Bob Seger saying Night Moves as an ode to the girl he fucked when they were back in high school. And that just didn't
Yeah.
seem like a Dolly Parton song right there.
No, she don't
She
seem that type to
she
fuck 'em and
changed
leave 'em,
she she changed the words around, like
Yeah.
where Bob Seger's starts with a little too tall, could have used a few pounds. Hers was, I was a little too small, I could have used a few pounds,
Yeah,
which apparently she got at her boobs later, right?
she got it, right? I mean,
So
if you
yeah,
gotta put the pounds on, that's where you want them.
yeah, that was a cringe-worthy song. I mean, Chris Stapleton was in it, so that kind of gives it some legitimacy, but I mean, he was just
Yeah, when
basically,
he came in on the song, I was like, "Okay, okay, alright, good. I'm glad he did
yeah,
that."
yeah.
But,
I'm
mm,
sorry, he's not Superman though. He can't lift
no,
that
no,
song all by himself.
no.
Well, no, I say that if he sang Night Moves all by himself,
Oh, for
he
sure.
could do it just fine. He could. I would probably
Yeah,
still like the Bob Seger version better, just because I'm kind of an originalist that way. But I wouldn't be like, oh, that's cringy, unless it was. I mean, I wouldn't.
right.
I'm not gonna, just hand him the crown automatically. But if he had sang the song, it would have been okay. If he had sang the song and Dolly was doing his part of the ooh ah, in the background and
Yeah,
stuff, might have been fine.
it might
But
have been
Dolly
fun, right.
singing the, we fucked all summer long part just didn't really,
Yeah.
it just didn't really work. So I listened
You listened to
to
way more of it than I did.
I did listen to it.
I was forcing myself, dude, like, I just could not bring my after that, I just like, "Oh, this is downhill. It's gonna be
Yeah.
downhill."
Well, I listened to I've got a half-hour drive to work and a half-hour drive back home from work. So I listened to a half hour that morning and then picked it up again that evening coming home. And as I got home, they were doing, it was the 13th song, in because I'm listening to the album in order. It was the
Right.
13th song, and I wasn't really, I know I wasn't really impressed by it, but my impression at that point was there's a few songs that, okay, they're not horrible, they're just not necessary. They sound fine,
Yeah.
but they're it's just we don't need them. We don't need Dolly Parton singing her version of
Oh, Purple Rain.
what Night Moves, or what was the other one?
Purple Rain.
Purple. We do not need, I'm
Oh,
sorry, we
no.
don't need Dolly doing Purple Rain. And again, if Prince was still alive and he was on the album, or he was on the song with her, then okay, maybe, but
Maybe.
he's gone, and
I'm hoping that if he had been alive, he'd been like, "Now do what now? Huh? No, she's not singing that song. Mm-mm." I
no,
think he would
no,
have been like, "That's
Dolly,
not
I
a
love
Dolly
you,
song."
Dolly, I love you, but
Yeah,
no.
and he
Let
does
me.
love Dolly, but
I mean, maybe Dolly Parton should have done Little Nicky. I knew a girl named Nikki out there. I just couldn't imagine her singing that.
no.
So, well, yeah, Night Moves was the one I was listening to. That was the last one I was listening to as I was getting home. So that was 13 songs. And I went to pull up the playlist because I'm thinking, okay, what is there? 2, 3 more songs? There are 30 songs on this freaking album.
Holy shit.
That is a lot of songs that
Yeah.
nobody asked for. So I got through all of those 13 songs, but then in getting prepared before we did our meeting, that I think we both just felt like that was a good, we had a good episode, but we could probably do it better, and that's really why we're doing it a second time.
No, I think the real reason is because you forgot to hit the fucking record button. I mean, that's the note I got.
mean, so it may be a little of column A, a little of column B. Anyway, so in getting prepared for the initial recording that didn't get recorded, I went through and just listened to a little bit of each of the rest of the songs. I just wanted to have an idea of what they were going to sound like. None of them really stood out. There's supposedly,
what about her originals?
There's supposedly 9 originals on here, and I know Rockstar and World on Fire, I guess, are original. Maybe she did one with John Fogerty, as long as I can see something. That might have been an original, because I wasn't familiar with that song beforehand. I Want Her Back with Steven Tyler, Either Or with Kid Rock, which I hated that song just because I hate Kid Rock. What Has Rock and Roll Ever Done for You with Stevie Nicks. The rest of them I'm looking on here. She did Satisfaction. I Can't Get No Satisfaction, that Rolling Stones song. And she did that one with Pink and Brandi Carlile. Now,
yes,
Pink and Brandy's portion of it sounded fine. So actually, I want to hear Pink and Brandi Carlile do I Can't Get No Satisfaction without Dolly.
Yeah, and they do some duets on one of Pink's concerts. Brandi comes on stage or something.
Okay.
So they are pretty good together.
Who is Brandi Carlile? I'm familiar with Belinda Carlisle from the Go-Go's.
Yeah, Brandi is more in the country scene.
Okay.
And
Are they related?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
They're not related.
I will say this. I only listened to a little bit of it, but Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, which she did with Elton John, didn't sound bad. That wasn't terrible. That was all right. Stairway to Heaven with Lizzo and Sasha Flute, who I don't know who Sasha Flute is, but I listened to just enough of that to say no. I'm not listening to any more. I'm not listening to any more of that. She did a song with Rob Halford.
I was just thinking, at any time, and there's 33 songs, any time in the studio, and I'm sure there was different sessions with different people everybody was on board with every song. I mean, seems weird. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Maybe all these artists were lined up waiting for their turn to go and sing their song.
And they're getting their royalties off of it, I'm sure. So
I'm sure. I mean, Rob Halford probably could use the money. It's been a while since he's done anything, I think. You know who Rob Halford is, right?
No.
He was the singer for Judas Priest.
Oh, yeah.
And so they did a song called Bygones. Huh?
No, I do know him, but they did a song
called Bygones. I'd have to say the 2 songs that pissed me off was the one with Kid Rock, just because I don't like Kid Rock. And she did a version of Let It Be with Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr. I don't think Ringo sang on it any, but he probably played drums. But Paul sang on it. And I'm not one to tell Dolly what to do, and I'm certainly not one to tell Paul and Ringo what to do, but I was not a fan of the way they did that song. I'm a big Beatles fan. Let It Be is a beautiful Paul McCartney song, but it wasn't so beautiful with Dolly doing it.
Well, and I'm like, back to like, who decided all this? Who even yes, Judas Priest, that's who she should pair up with, is Rob. I mean, where did all these decisions come from?
It's a pretty big mismatch of people. She did Baby I Love Your Way with Peter Frampton. That didn't sound so good. But I mean, it's all over the board here. She did Freebird. It said featuring Lynyrd Skynyrd. So I don't know if they just picked one of the many people who have been on Lynyrd Skynyrd over the years and said, we're just going to call this person Lynyrd Skynyrd, or if she just sang over the original song, maybe, I don't know.
Either way, we've got to love Dolly. Gotta give her the
Love,
love.
love Dolly. Love Dolly.
And I mean, she's 78. What did we say she was?
77.
And I mean, she's done everything. If she wants to add this to her list with the money she's got and the charities,
She
add it.
sure don't need our permission.
I mean, right?
I don't
I
remember
ain't gotta
anybody
listen to
asking
it.
me, but she didn't have to.
So overall,
And
you got to give her props for still going.
for just being able to stand up and hold that rack up at her advanced age is
Yeah.
something to celebrate.
Right. I mean, look at her in that Dallas Cowboy cheerleader uniform.
Yowza.
Yowza.
She was hot stumbling around up there like she was getting ready to fall down. With that bodysuit that was made to look like she was naked underneath all those clothes.
Yeah. Hey, I'm getting me one of those. I'm like, that's right. That's what
Me
I should be
too.
wearing.
Me too.
Yes. Hides
When
it
I go to
all.
the beach, I'm going to have a sparkly sequin bodysuit that makes it look like it's my own flesh underneath my
Yeah.
swimming trunks.
Every bit helps.
Every bit helps. Honestly, yeah, like you said, she's got the money and the clout to do whatever she wants. So, I mean, I love Dolly when she sings her country songs and when she bluegrass. I love Dolly. And I still love Dolly even after this debacle. So, I'm not going to turn my back on her. I'm just not going to listen to this album anymore. What I would prefer is if all of these same artists or other artists did duets with Dolly doing her songs. Stay in your lane, Dolly. Do your own songs and get guests on with you. The Stevie Nicks. That's a great person to sing with Dolly. A Dolly song.
A Dolly song. Pink.
Yeah, not
that's another good one. Yeah.
I'd love to hear Paul McCartney and Ringo. Or Ringo has sang some country songs. I'd love to hear Ringo do a duet with Dolly.
Yeah.
On any of her songs. So that to me was the big thing, was she was just not in her lane. She doesn't have to be, but I don't have to sit here and act like it was a great thing either. I wasn't impressed with the album. Even the songs that sounded
I think
okay.
She just decided if they're going to induct me into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I need a rock and roll album. And there you go.
I think her initial idea of declining to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was probably the best idea, because she said, I don't do rock and roll, I do country. And then she went and did a rock and roll album to prove she doesn't do rock and roll, she does country.
They're like, oh, she is right. Yeah.
Damn it, we should have listened to her. Speaking of some Dolly original songs, did you get around to listening to Me and Little Andy?
God, you think 2 days I could have fit that in, but I
because you'd forgotten it 2 days ago too. You forgot that, kind of like I forgot to hit the recording button.
Yes.
Well,
I just didn't. Well, you didn't even remind me. You should have said, "Listen to that song."
Well, maybe 2 days ago should have been a reminder, since you knew you were going to get another chance to talk about it. So let me just give you, and listeners who might have never heard the song, and if you have never heard the song, please go and listen to it. I'm going to have a link to the video of her when she sang it live back in 70 or 72 or something on somebody's country show. So I'll have the link in the description, and please, everybody, you need to go listen to this song. So Me and Little Andy, it's a story of a woman, Dolly, a woman at home on a terrible stormy night. She doesn't say what storm it is. She doesn't say it's a rainstorm, an ice storm, a snowstorm, or anything like that. Just a terrible stormy night. She hears a knocking at her door and goes to answer it. And it's a little girl and her puppy on her doorstep. And the little girl's basically saying, Mommy's run away again. Daddy's drunk in town again. And we're all alone at home and didn't know what to do. We
Not like a neglect. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dolly, being the goddamn national treasure that she is, said, please come on in, come on in. And then the song immediately goes to the next morning, when Dolly apparently finds the girl and the puppy dead in bed.
This is weird. And then it's almost
this is mental.
I know. And I feel like I'm getting a little flashback of like, my mom might have sang this song to me. And then I'm like, what the fuck?
Why the? I mean,
It's not a lullaby.
there's well, if you listen to some of the lullabies, they're not really
They're
lullabies
not,
either.
I know.
So, with no explanation, I brought him into the house, I tucked him into bed, and through the night, God decided to take him to heaven.
I mean, for what reason? Did they have an injury? Did she kill him?
She
Or did they both have
she
cancer?
doesn't say. I mean, one would
Illness.
expect she wouldn't, come out and say, "Well, I killed him. It was an accident, but I killed him." But it's just weird to me. And in the line, God knew Andy. Andy was the dog. Sandy was the
Okay.
girl, and Andy was the dog. Dolly sings, God knew Andy would be alone without Sandy. And I'm not singing the lyrics as they are, but that's the explanation of why Andy died. Was God knew that Andy would be
Yeah,
alone without the little girl,
right.
and so he took him too, and now they can be together in heaven.
Mm.
And I'd like to hear Andy's opinion on that.
And like, well, I got to go.
I've only known the chick for like a couple of months. Look, I'm small. Look, I've only known her for a couple of months.
Yeah.
I'm not going to miss her that bad.
I'll find another little girl.
She's not particularly bright. I mean, okay, yes, we were alone in the house, but we weren't in the storm until she decides to come out
To
here.
take us.
I mean, and she doesn't come here asking for food. She asks for, ain't you got no gingerbread? Ain't you got no candy?
It's like,
Does
you
this
want
sound like
candy?
something I'm going to miss? I don't really want to go.
Yeah.
I've got probably at least 10 and maybe as many as 15 years ahead of me.
He's like, I'm already eating soft food, so I'm not into gingerbread or candy.
I,
My teeth
I,
can't take that.
I mean, I just got off the milk. I just got off the.
Could they have both been abused and had some kind of internal injury?
I mean, we can speculate. But we will only know what's in the song. And
Yeah.
Dolly doesn't describe a bedraggled girl that is near death that was on her doorstep. She just says a little girl and her puppy. And then Dolly voices the little girl in the song, which
Like a baby voice.
you've really got to listen. You've got to follow the
I'm
link
gonna
I
have to
sent you.
listen.
Because
Okay.
she's introducing the song, and it's on somebody's country music show, and so she's introducing the song, and she says, I've been known over the years for writing sad songs. Well, this one is pitiful. The audience laughs.
And then at the end, they're all crying. Like, she wasn't kidding.
At the end, they're all horrified. It's like,
Like,
who is this
damn you,
woman? And what is she
Dolly.
doing with all these kids and dogs that come by her house? Are they buried in her backyard?
I just get the like a visual because I do that, like cartoon visual of Brian from Family Guy being this dog.
That would make a great video for a music video for this song. Stewie and Sandy and Brian. Brian
Yeah,
as little
Stewie and
Andy.
Brian come to Dolly's house.
Only it's not Dolly. It's got to be what's the old man's name? The
Oh,
old pedophile Harold or something.
damn. I look Google his name. Yeah, and he's got that little whistle voice. Like, come here, children.
Hello, kiddies. How you
Yeah.
doing? What you doing out there in that storm? Would you like to come in? I got some gingerbread and candy.
Gingerbread and candy. What is his name though?
I can't bring my browser up.
Herbert.
Herbert. Okay, yeah.
Herbert.
Herbert the pedophile. Stewie is Sandy and Brian is Andy. I've got to write a letter to
McFarlane.
MacFarlane. Yes, Seth MacFarlane. I'm going to start that over. I've got to
I
write
bet
a
if you
letter.
did, he would. If you send him the song, send him the link, it's Dolly's song, and be like, "This is perfect for Stewie and Brian."
I'll even write the screenplay. You just do the
Exactly.
voices and bring all of your talents to bear on the cartoon. and the voices. I'll give you the screenplay exactly how it should play out.
When he reads this and he's enthused enough to contact you, Rob, don't forget, take me along with you because it's
Don't
part of
forget
our podcast. I gotta meet Seth.
I feel like what's more likely to happen is an assistant of his will read it and go, "The fuck," and throw it away, or
Oh.
we'll read it and say, "Oh, actually, this looks like comedy gold. Hey, Seth, take a look at this." And Seth looks at it and goes, "Oh, this is comedy gold. Fuck that guy. I'm going to take all the credit for it."
Damn it. But we've already put it out there. It's
We have
in
already put it out there.
podcast land.
So
Yeah.
the 8 people
Make-
who may listen to this podcast between now and then will go up against the lawyers
Yes.
and money that Seth MacFarlane has, and
And
we'll
that's how we
prevail.
get yeah.
I really would like to write this idea to Seth and say, "Hey, if you haven't heard Dolly Parton's song "Me and Little Andy," you should listen to it, and then think about a cartoon video."
And remember,
of
that
that
was your
song.
sister's idea.
It indeed
I
was.
have the ideas. You just have the writing ability.
I have the vision to take it further.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Wherever that is.
But for real, everybody listening to this, please follow the link. Dolly singing that song is the
Yeah.
song is bad enough, but when she gets to where she's talking in Sandy's voice, I'm not even going to try to replicate it because there's no way I could. My voice, there's no way I could do what Dolly does with that. But you've got to hear it for yourself to hear just how creepy it is. All right. So what else have you got on your list to keep us on track now that I'm recording?
That we hit every punch, so
We blew right
we
through
did.
it.
Yeah, we did good.
God damn it. I forgot to record again.
No,
I'm
you.
kidding.
Oh, I was like, wait a minute, maybe he's serious. I was like, I will punch you right through this computer.
I was surprised
We
and a little
recovered.
proud of how calm you were Monday when I sent that. You were like, "Well, fuck." And then from there you're like, "Well, don't beat yourself up about it. We can try to redo it." I'm going to give you shit
That-
about it. I think that
Yeah.
was probably the part that you liked the most anyway, was, "Hey, I've got something I can legitimately give him shit about."
Well, and I didn't want you to. I knew you already felt bad about. I know that aided you. I know it. That's why I was like, I could.
You can
I could
really
have been.
just tighten those screws down.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, let's let him know it's all right. Yeah.
And it was a shame
And
because,
we did fine.
yeah, I think we recovered well.
Yeah.
I might cut
I mean, the
some parts
original
of
would
this
have
out.
been best have it been recorded, but it is what it is.
Yes, I think the original would have been better. What do you think? Should we ask our listeners to suggest some other things for us to review?
Yeah, we're up for reviewing other things besides music. I mean,
We'll
it can
review
be more music, whatever.
movies,
Give us a suggestion
TV shows.
if you
Yeah.
like what we're doing.
If you like what we're doing, just give us an idea. And our email address is always in the description of the episode. So until next time, I think that's goodbye.
I think that's it. Adios. We want to hear your stories, especially those of you who have siblings you've discovered later in life, like us.
Send email to linnellandrob@gmail.com. That email address will appear in the podcast episode's description, and we'll read all your emails over the air.